Hello and welcome. In today's episode, we are looking at the third part of the series, Genocides in the Bible. In the last episode, we looked at genocides in Canaan involving the killing or elimination of the people of Canaan and the taking over of the land by the Israelites under, they believe, the instructions of their God Yahweh. In today's episode, we are looking at the genocide involving the people of Amalek, the killing or genocide of the people of Amalek. Stay tuned. Now, when I first read the story of the Amalekites in the Bible, or the instructions on King Saul to go and destroy Amalek and all his people, that was in secondary school, probably in year 3, in RK, that is religious knowledge. I was very uncomfortable with this story. And I did remember wondering, why would God order King Saul to go and slaughter the people of other nations? But I left it there, and I didn't pursue the matter until much later. So today, we are looking at that story in more detail. So who were the Amalekites? Who were the Amalekites? Now, according to the Bible, these were Edomites. Edomites are descendants of Esau. Now, these Edomites, so this Amalekite descended from Eliphaz, the son of Esau. So they were the ground. Eliphaz was the grandson of Esau, the son of Isaac. The first son of Isaac. You should see Genesis 36, verse 9, 36, 12, 36, 15 to 16, and Deuteronomy 23, 7 to 8. All these confirm that the people of Edom and Amalek were related to the people of Israel. The name Edom is for red, and we are told in Genesis that Esau was born red, and because of that he was called Esau, which means red. Now, the story of the Amalekites, the story of Esau in the Bible makes it clear that the people of Israel and the people of Edom and Amalek were arch enemies from the very beginning. They were age-old arch rivals and arch enemies. And throughout the Bible, their enmity was clear to see, beginning from the birth of Esau and Jacob. The Bible tells us that Esau and Jacob, that they began to fight even in the womb. Genesis 25, 20 to 24, verse 21 to 24. Genesis 25, verses 21 to 24. It says that when Rebekah, the wife of Isaac, was pregnant, that the babies in the womb jostled each other. And when she inquired why this was so, she was told that there were 2 nations in her womb, and that one nation would be stronger than the other, and that the older nation would serve the younger. That's why they were fighting in the womb. If you go down to the same chapter, Genesis 25, 25 to 26, it says that the first child came out of Rebekah and was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment, so they named him Esau. And then shortly afterwards, the brother came out, grasping the heel of Esau. So they named him Jacob. And Jacob is an idiom in Hebrew which means he deceives. So from the very beginning, in the womb, the enmity was sown. Now, for me, this is a story just telling how old and how entrenched the enmity was between these two peoples, even if we don't accept the story of the conception of both in the womb. And then, in furtherance of this animosity and enmity, we're told that Esau lost his birthright to Jacob because he sold his birthright for a plate of porridge, because Jacob wouldn't give him food when he was hungry, and he exchanged his birthright for the food. Remember, we saw earlier that the Bible says that the older will serve the younger, that one will be stronger than the other. So in apparent fulfillment of this, Esau sold his birthright to Jacob. We are also told in Genesis 27 that Jacob, with the connivance of his mother Rebekah, went ahead to steal the blessing, to deceive his father Isaac, to give him, Jacob, the blessings reserved for Esau, the firstborn son. And because of that, the line was drawn. Line of enmity and quarrel and fighting between Edom and Israel. And that's no wonder then that the Bible says in Numbers 20:14 to 21 that when the Israelites were coming out of Egypt from the to the promised land, they had to cross the land of Edom to get to the land of Canaan. And they went to the king of Edom and asked for permission to pass through. And the king of Edom, i.e., the descendants of Esau, refused to give them permission and actually used armed forces to send them away from that place. We are further told in Judges, if you go to Judges 3:12 to 13, that Jehovah or Yahweh used the people of Amalek, people of Edom, to punish the Israelites because they sinned against him. So Jehovah gave them over to the Moabites, who allied with Ammonites and Amalekites, were able to attack and invade and capture Jericho from the Israelites. In Judges 6:2 to 5, we are told that because of the sins of Israel, again Yahweh gave them over to the Midianites, the Amalekites, and other eastern peoples who came in, attacked their crops, ruined their crops, and took away their livestock. So this tells us that the quarrel of the people of Israel and Amalek existed from time immemorial. So then, Moses, speaking for Yahweh, decrees the destruction of Amalek and his people. Exodus 17, 14. Exodus 17 verse 14 says, "Write this on a scroll as something to be remembered, and make sure that Joshua hears it, because I will completely blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven." So this is an order to Moses by Jehovah that they should write this and pass it on to their followers and generations after Moses, that the people of Amalek must be destroyed. Deuteronomy 25, 17 to 19, it says, "Remember what the Amalekites did to you on the way from Egypt, when they refused your entry and attacked you. They didn't fear me and didn't do anything to help you. Because of that, when you have conquered Canaan and settled down, you must blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. Do not forget." Numbers 24 verse 20 also says that Amalek was first among the nations, but he will come to ruin at last. So these were injunctions laid down by Moses, apparently under the instructions of Yahweh, that the people of Amalek must be completely wiped out. That was a genocidal decree by the God of the Bible, by the God of the Hebrews. Totally wipe out Amalek and blot them out from the face of the earth. So pursuant to this instruction, there were many attempts in the Bible to eliminate the Amalekites. We are told that King Saul, when he became king, in 1 Samuel 14, 47 to 48, that when he became king, that King Saul fought all the nations around Israel, including Moab, Ammon, Edom, and Amalek. But he was then given a specific order by Prophet Samuel, acting under the instructions of Yahweh, apparently, that he must now go to Amalek and totally wipe them out. 1 Samuel 15, 2 to 3. 1 Samuel 15, 2 to 3 says, "This is what the Lord Almighty says. I will punish the Amalekites for what they did to Israel when they were led them as they came up from Egypt. Now, go, attack the Amalekites and totally destroy all that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Put to death men, women, children, and infants, cattle, sheep, camels, and donkeys." Wipe out everybody. So Saul went and carried out the instructions, kills everything, kills everybody, except he came home with the king of Amalek and some choice animals, intending, according to him, to use him as sacrifice in Israel in honor of Yahweh. But Samuel, the prophet, wasn't happy that anybody was spared at all, or that Amalek was spared, King Agag of Amalek was spared. And because of that, King Saul lost his throne, because he failed to destroy everybody in the town, in the country of Amalek, even though he destroyed virtually everybody except the king. And then Samuel himself went and slaughtered the king. The Bible said, hacked him to pieces before the Lord, before Jehovah. 1 Samuel 15, verse 33. Then we are told that subsequently, after this, that King David, when he took over from Saul, goes about and plunders the remnants of Moab, Edom, Ammon, Philistine, and Amalek. So whatever was left, he goes to mop up the remainder of any survivors from Amalek. See 2 Samuel 8, 11 to 12, 1 Chronicles 4:43, 1 Kings 11, 14 to 18, and 1 Chronicles verse 18. So everything left of the Amalekites were completely wiped out under the instructions of the God of the Bible. So what conclusions can we draw from this sorry story of the Amalekites? The first thing we can take from this, which is clear, is that genocide appeared to be the modus operandi of the ancient Israelites, acting under the orders of their God Yahweh for acquiring territory and eliminating the inhabitants of that territory. It is clear that the instruction or the plan was go into this place, go into Canaan, eliminate everybody, and take over their land and belongings. Numbers 33, 50 to 55 emphasizes this point, because in that passage, Yahweh said to Moses and the Israelites that when they get into Canaan, they should drive out all the inhabitants. They should destroy their places of worship. They should destroy their items of worship, and they should take over all their possessions, all their land, and all their properties. And that's, as we've seen in the last video, how they went about eliminating everybody in the so-called promised land in order to inherit their properties and their land. So what this tells us then, the second point to take from this, therefore, is that the God of the Bible is simply the God of Israel and cared only for the people of Israel. This is the point I try to emphasize all the time in my videos, that Yahweh isn't the God of other peoples apart from the Israelites. Certainly, he wasn't the God of Amalek. He wasn't the God of the Canaanites. He wasn't the God of the Egyptians. And neither is he the God of Africans and other peoples of the world. And that is why he says, go and destroy Amalek and his people entirely and take over their land. The third point we could take from this is that the Edomites, including the Amalekites, had their own gods and did not worship Yahweh, the God of Israel. And therefore, Yahweh wasn't their God, and they weren't the people of Yahweh. The people of Yahweh was exclusively, entirely, only the people of Israel. The Bible is very clear on this. And unless you understand that, you don't understand the Bible at all. And this is the point. And this is why the Bible makes it clear that the people of Israel should sack the promised land, kill all the people, and take over all their land as inheritance. Well, thank you for watching. If you like the video and what we do, please like, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the video, give us your comments, tell us what you think, and we'll take it from there. I respond to every message I get, and thanks very much for watching. Until next video, stay safe.